Have you ever paused over your morning plate, fork in hand, and wondered if that simple egg, long hailed as a powerhouse of nutrition, might be hiding a double life? For generations, we've trusted eggs as the ultimate ally for vitality, packing in protein that builds strength and fuels the golden years. But what if the very way you've been enjoying them for decades is quietly undermining the energy, clarity, and independence you cherish most as you age gracefully in this fast-paced American life? Picture this. In the heart of a bustling Texas suburb, where the sun rises over quiet lawns and the air hums with the promise of another day, lives Eleanor, a spirited 78-year-old widow who's seen it all from raising a family through the ups and downs of the 70s economy to navigating Medicare mazes in her retirement. Like so many seniors across the U.S., from the snowy streets of Chicago to the sunny coasts of Florida, Eleanor starts her day with eggs. Scrambled, boiled, or fried, they're her go-to for that protein punch doctors rave about, the kind that keeps muscles from fading and bones from weakening. She's heard the fitness gurus on TV swear by them for longevity, and her own doctor nods approvingly at her cholesterol checks. But lately, things have shifted. Subtle at first, a nagging fatigue that creeps in by noon. A fog over her once sharp memory during bridge games with friends. Or that unexplained tingling in her fingers that makes gripping her coffee mug a challenge. Eleanor brushes it off as just getting older, but deep down, she senses something's amiss. What she doesn't realize is that her beloved eggs, prepared with the habits passed down from her mother's kitchen, are at the center of a silent storm, one where small oversights in timing, cooking, and pairings turn this natural wonder from a lifeline into a lurking threat. Now imagine flipping that script. What if, with a few mindful tweaks rooted in decades of science and real-world wisdom, those same eggs could become your secret weapon for thriving well into your 80s and 90s? No more second-guessing your breakfast. Instead, eggs that shield your heart like a steadfast guardian, rebuild your strength as reliably as a trusted old friend, and sharpen your mind to match the wit you've honed over a lifetime. But here's the twist that might just reshape everything you thought you knew. Eggs aren't just food, they're a delicate balance. Sensitive to how we handle them, and for us seniors, where immune systems soften and metabolism slow, the stakes are higher than ever. I've spent 30 years guiding folks like Eleanor through the maze of health choices, witnessing firsthand how these everyday staples can either erode vitality or ignite it. And today, drawing from that well of experience, we're pulling back the curtain on not just 5, but 6 critical mistakes seniors make with eggs, mistakes that could be spiking cholesterol, inviting infections, or robbing your body of essential nutrients without a whisper of warning. We'll dive deeper than ever, unpacking the science with empathy for the real-life hurdles you face, sharing stories from across America that hit close to home, and arming you with practical, science-backed fixes that feel as natural as your morning routine. Think of eggs as that classic American muscle car, powerful. Reliable, but only if you maintain them right. Get the oil wrong, ignore the timing belt, and what was meant to carry you far starts breaking down. Similarly, eggs brim with treasures. High-quality protein for muscle repair, choline for brain fog battles, and antioxidants that fend off the wear and tear of time. Yet, in our busy lives, juggling doctor visits, family calls, and perhaps a part-time gig at the local community center, it's easy to overlook how preparation flips their script. For instance, did you know that something as innocent as ditching the yolk could starve your nerves of a vital vitamin, leading to that pins and needles sensation that disrupts your daily walks? Or that a runny center might invite bacteria that hits harder when our defenses aren't what they used to be? These aren't scare tactics. They're insights born from counseling thousands of seniors, from veterans in New York nursing homes to active retirees in California vineyards, who've turned their health around by addressing them. But the real eye-opener? Many of these pitfalls stem from outdated advice we've clung to, like low-fat diets from the 80s that villainized yolks, or fitness fads pushing raw eggs for purity. In truth, as our bodies evolve with age, eggs demand a tailored approach. That's why we're expanding beyond the basics today, adding layers like egg quality and portion wisdom that competitors skim over, ensuring you walk away not just informed, but empowered. We'll explore how factory-farmed eggs might load you with unseen additives, or how overindulging without balance could tip the scales on your heart health issues I've seen time and again in my practice, where a simple chat uncovers habits fueling fatigue or frailty. As we journey through these revelations, picture Eleanor again. After a wake-up call from a routine checkup revealing biotin dips and cholesterol creeps, she made those shifts whole eggs instead of whites, proper cooking to banish risks, and smart timing that synced with her body's rhythm. Months later, she's not just eating. She's thriving hosting grandchildren with renewed vigor, tackling crossword puzzles with laser focus, and feeling that inner strength that makes every day a gift. You could be next. Stick with me as we unpack these 6 mistakes, each with real stories from American seniors, clear explanations that cut through the jargon, and fixes so straightforward they fit seamlessly into your life. Whether you're in a cozy Midwest farmhouse or a high-rise in Atlanta, from my years at the front lines of senior health, I can tell you this. Knowledge like this isn't about restriction. It's about reclaiming control. Eggs can be your ally in the fight for independence, keeping you mobile for those grandkid soccer games, alert for meaningful conversations, and resilient against the curveballs life throws. By the end, you'll have a toolkit, formulas for safe prep, tips for common conditions like diabetes or hypertension, and lessons that turn potential pitfalls into pillars of well-being. Now, I want to hear from you right here in the comments. What's your go-to way to enjoy eggs? And does any of this ring a bell from your own routine? Sharing your story could spark a light bulb moment for another senior just like you. If this hooks you, hit that subscribe button for more weekly gems on aging strong, give us a like to spread the word, and share this with a loved one who deserves to thrive. Let's make eggs work for us. Not against us, your vibrant tomorrow starts today. Number 1, eating only egg whites on an empty stomach. What if that innocent habit of ditching the yolk and savoring just the whites may be whipped into a fluffy omelet or stirred into your morning smoothie is actually like discarding the key to your own fortress, leaving your nerves and mind vulnerable to the quiet invaders of age? For so many seniors I've counseled over my 3 decades in this field, this one sneaks up like an old friend turned foe, promising purity and low calories, but delivering a subtle sabotage that builds over time. You see, eggs are more than breakfast. They're a symphony of nutrients designed by nature to work in harmony. And when we split them apart, especially on an empty stomach, we're disrupting that beautiful balance in ways that can echo through our days. Let me paint this picture clearly, drawing from the science I've pored over and the lives I've touched. At the heart of the issue is avidin, a sneaky protein lurking in egg whites. It's not inherently evil. Think of it as an overzealous guard that latches onto biotin or vitamin B7, one of those unsung heroes in our bodies. Biotin isn't just a buzzword from supplement ads. It's the spark that fuels energy production, keeps our nerves firing smoothly, and safeguards our memory against the fog that can cloud our later years. Without enough of it, things start to unravel subtly at first. Maybe you notice your nails turning brittle, or an unusual tiredness that no amount of coffee shakes off, or that faint tingling in your hands and feet that makes buttoning a shirt feel like a chore. But as the deficiency digs in deeper, especially for us folks over 65 whose absorption isn't as robust, it can escalate to serious nerve damage, muscle weakness that heightens fall risks, and even cognitive slips that steal the joy from conversations or hobbies. Now, why does an empty stomach make this worse? Picture your gut first thing in the morning. After a night's fast, your stomach acid is roaring at its peak, ready to break down whatever hits it. That acidity amps up avidin's grip, blocking even more biotin from getting where it needs to go. It's like pouring fuel on a fire, accelerating the loss and leaving you depleted before the day even ramps up. And by tossing the yolk? Oh, that's where the real tragedy lies. The yolk isn't just fat and cholesterol. It's a treasure trove packed with lecithin for laser-sharp focus, omega-3 fatty acids that soothe joints and protect your ticker, and antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin that act as sunglasses for your eyes, warding off macular degeneration that's all too common in our American senior communities. Without it, the white alone is like a half-built bridge, strong in protein, but missing the supports that make the whole structure safe and effective. I've seen this play out time and again, and it always tugs at my heart because it's so preventable. Take Mrs. Clara from Ohio, a vibrant 72-year-old who volunteered at her local library and prided herself on staying fit. For years, she'd start her day with egg whites on an empty stomach, following that old low-fat diet advice from the 90s, believing it was her ticket to heart health. But gradually, she started experiencing that nagging fatigue and numbness in her fingers, which made turning book pages a struggle. Her doctor ran tests and found a biotin deficiency creeping in, compounded by her routine. It wasn't until we adjusted her habits that she bounced back, regaining her energy and even leading story hours again. Or consider Mr. Luis in Arizona, who has diabetes on top of it all. His empty stomach egg whites not only blocked biotin, but also spiked his blood sugar unevenly without the yolk's fats to stabilize it, leading to dizzy spells that scared his family. In my experience, for seniors with conditions like diabetes, this mistake hits harder because our bodies already juggle so much. Adding nutrient imbalances just tips the scale toward complications like neuropathy, which can turn a simple walk in the park into a hazard. From where I stand, after guiding countless patients through these waters, eggs are like a wise old companion. They give back what you invest in them. Skipping the yolk is a common pitfall born from outdated myths about cholesterol, but the truth is, whole eggs in moderation actually support healthy cholesterol levels for most of us, thanks to that nutrient synergy. Compare it side by side. A lone egg white gives you about 3.6 grams of protein but zero biotin protection, while the full egg delivers 6 grams of protein plus all those brain and heart guardians. It's a no-brainer upgrade. The lesson here? Embrace the whole egg balance formula. Always pair the white with the yolk to neutralize avidin naturally, never on an empty stomach to tame that acid surge, and weave in fiber-rich sides like whole grain toast or a sprinkle of spinach to slow everything down gently. For most seniors, sticking to 5 to 7 whole eggs a week keeps things beneficial without overload. But if you suspect biotin issues, maybe from ongoing fatigue or skin changes, chat with your doctor about a simple blood test, especially if you're on meds that might interact. Making this shift isn't about overhauling your life. It's a gentle nudge that pays dividends in vitality. Clara and Luis are proof small changes restored their spark, and I bet it could for you too. But even when we get the whole egg right, there's another layer to peel back. What if those eggs aren't cooked properly? That brings us to our next hidden hazard, one that can turn even the best intentions into a health gamble. Number 2, eating raw or undercooked eggs. That runny yolk might look innocent, like a cozy comfort in your poached egg or that soft-boiled treat you've enjoyed since your younger days. But for us seniors, it's often a ticking bomb for your gut, ready to unleash chaos that ripples far beyond a simple stomach upset. I've sat across from too many patients in my 30 years of practice who came in pale and shaken, their stories a stark reminder that what feels natural or pure can sometimes be the very thing that knocks us off our feet when our bodies aren't as forgiving as they once were. Eggs in their raw or undercooked form carry risks that hit harder as we age, turning a beloved habit into a gamble with our health, immunity, and even our peace of mind. Let's break this down with the clarity it deserves, starting with the big bad wolf, Salmonella bacteria. These sneaky invaders can hide inside even the freshest-looking eggs, often from contamination during production. For a young buck with a robust immune system, it might just mean a rough day or two of cramps and nausea. But for seniors like us over 60, with immune responses that naturally slow down Salmonella, can escalate into a full-blown crisis. Severe dehydration that leaves you dizzy and weak. Blood infections that demand IV antibiotics, or even sepsis, where your body's overreaction turns life-threatening. According to the CDC, older adults account for the highest rates of hospitalizations and deaths from Salmonella poisoning. It's not dramatic to say this. It's the reality I've witnessed, where a simple breakfast choice lands someone in the ER, far from their cozy home in places like the suburbs of Philadelphia or the retirement communities of Arizona. But the dangers don't stop at infection. Remember avidin from our first mistake? In raw or undercooked eggs, it's at full throttle, binding biotin with an iron fist and stripping away that vital nutrient for nerve health and energy. Add to that how raw egg proteins can throw your gut microbiome out of whack, the delicate ecosystem of good bacteria that not only aids digestion but also influences your mood and brain function through what's called the gut-brain axis. Think of your gut as the roots of a mighty oak tree, disrupt them, and the whole tree suffers. For seniors, whose gut health is already more fragile due to medications, slower motility, or years of dietary ups and downs, this imbalance can fuel depression, heighten brain fog, or worsen chronic conditions like IBS. In my experience, it's like dominoes falling. Start with a disrupted gut, and suddenly you're dealing with mood swings that steal the joy from family gatherings or memory lapses that frustrate your independence. These aren't abstract warnings. They're drawn from real lives across America. Consider Mr. Harold from California, an 81-year-old avid gardener who swore by his raw egg smoothies, inspired by those old fitness myths from Rocky movies where gulping them down promised unbeatable strength and protein absorption. He thought it kept him spry for tending his vegetable patch in the mild coastal climate. But one fateful week, severe abdominal pain hit like a storm, followed by vomiting and a fever that wouldn't break. Hospital tests confirmed salmonella, which spiraled into sepsis, landing him in the ICU for over a week. Even after discharge, his gut was so imbalanced that he battled ongoing diarrhea and fatigue, forcing him to give up his garden for months. It was heartbreaking to see such vitality dimmed by a habit rooted in outdated lore. Then there's Mrs. Evelyn in Texas, a 75-year-old with a weakened immune system from chemotherapy for breast cancer. She loved her soft scrambled eggs with runny centers, a comfort from her southern upbringing. But the undercooked state let avidin run rampant, deepening her biotin deficiency and disrupting her gut, which amplified her post-chemo brain fog and low moods. Her family noticed her withdrawing from social circles, and it took a nutrition overhaul to pull her back. Proof that for immune-compromised seniors, even a hint of rawness is a risk too far. From my vantage point, after helping folks like Harold and Evelyn reclaim their health, I see these pitfalls often stem from common traps, those persistent fitness myths claiming raw eggs deliver superior protein, spoiler, cooking actually makes it more bioavailable without the risks, or the allure of farm-fresh appeal that overlooks modern safety needs. Compare raw to cooked. Uncooked eggs might seem quicker, but they expose you to bacteria and nutrient blockers, while a properly cooked egg reaching an internal temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit deactivates avidin, kills pathogens, and preserves that gut harmony. The lesson? Follow the cook to 160 degree hour rule. Always ensure yolks and whites are firm, not runny boil for 9 to 12 minutes, scramble until set, or use a food thermometer if you're frying. Steer clear of raw egg recipes like homemade mayo or tiramisu unless using pasteurized eggs. Check for cracks or expiration. Consume within 2 weeks, stored in the fridge, and wash hands after handling shells, where bacteria love to linger. For those with compromised immunity, say, from diabetes, cancer treatments, or autoimmune issues, avoid raw or undercooked entirely. Opt for hard-boiled or baked alternatives, and consult your doc for personalized tweaks. Shifting to this safer path is simpler than it sounds, and the payoff is immense steadier energy, fewer tummy troubles, and a gut that supports your whole well-being. Harold's back in his garden now, and Evelyn's laughing with friends again. But even with perfect cooking, there's another twist waiting. What happens when those well-prepared eggs collide with your daily medications? That's our next eye-opener, one that could be quietly undermining your prescriptions without you even knowing. Number 3, mixing eggs with medications. What if your morning plate of eggs, that comforting ritual you've leaned into for years, is secretly sparring with the pills you take to keep your heart steady or your energy up, turning your breakfast into a battleground where your health is the loser? It's a scenario I've seen unfold too often in my 30 years of helping seniors navigate the complex dance of aging, medications, and nutrition. For so many of us across America, from the quiet retirement villages of Michigan to the vibrant senior centers of Miami, mornings mean 2 things: a warm egg dish and a handful of prescriptions to manage everything from blood pressure to blood sugar. It feels practical, even efficient, to wash those pills down with breakfast. But here's the quiet truth that's tripped up countless patients. Eggs, despite their nutritional gold, can tangle with certain medications in ways that dull their effects or worse, tip your health into dangerous territory. Let's unpack this with the care it demands. Because for seniors juggling multiple prescriptions, often 3 or more, a reality for over 40% of Americans over 65, the stakes are high. Eggs are nutrient-dense, brimming with vitamins and minerals like vitamin K, calcium, magnesium, and iron. These are blessings for your body, but they can act like uninvited guests when they meet certain drugs. Start with blood thinners like warfarin, a lifeline for those with heart conditions or a history of stroke. Egg yolks, rich in vitamin K, help your blood clot, a process warfarin is designed to temper. If you suddenly increase your egg intake, say from 1 a week to daily, that extra vitamin K can counteract the drug, raising your risk of dangerous clots. Conversely, cutting eggs out abruptly can make your blood too thin, inviting internal bleeding. It's like trying to balance on a tightrope without a net. Small shifts can throw you off. Then there's antibiotics like tetracyclines or quinolones, often prescribed for infections. The minerals in eggs, calcium, magnesium, iron bind to these drugs in your gut, forming complexes your body can't absorb. The result? Your antibiotic might work at half strength, letting infections linger or even fostering antibiotic resistance, a growing concern in hospitals from Seattle to Savannah. And don't overlook iron supplements, critical for seniors battling anemia, which affects about 17% of those over 65. Egg white proteins can latch onto supplemental iron, flushing it out before it can boost your hemoglobin. That means the fatigue, breathlessness, or dizziness you're fighting might persist, no matter how diligently you take your pills. I've seen this hit home in ways that linger with me. Take Mrs. Dorothy from Michigan, an 80-year-old with a warm smile who'd been on warfarin since a heart valve replacement. She loved her sunny-side-up eggs, a nod to her farm girl roots, and ate them daily with her morning meds. When she upped her egg intake after a dietitian's advice to boost protein, her blood tests showed her INR, a measure of blood clotting, was dangerously off. A week later, she landed in the ER with a minor brain bleed, a terrifying close call that could have been catastrophic. Or consider Mr. James in Georgia, a 77-year-old with type 2 diabetes and anemia who took his iron supplements with scrambled eggs every morning. Despite months of compliance, his energy barely budged, and his doctor was stumped until we pinpointed the egg protein interference. Once he spaced out his meals and meds, his hemoglobin climbed, and he was back to his daily walks with his grandkids. Then there's Mrs. Lila in Oregon on levothyroxine for hypothyroidism, a condition affecting nearly 20% of senior women. She didn't realize eggs, proteins, and fats could delay thyroid med absorption, leaving her sluggish and foggy until we adjusted her timing. These stories aren't outliers. They're echoes of a common oversight. Many seniors fall into the trap of thinking food and meds operate in silos, or they follow old habits like taking pills with breakfast for convenience. But in my experience, it's like mixing oil and water. What seems to blend can actually clash. Compare the outcomes. Taking warfarin with eggs might spike your clotting risk by up to 30% if vitamin K intake jumps, while spacing them apart keeps your INR stable. Antibiotics lose up to 50% efficacy when bound by egg minerals, and iron absorption can drop significantly with egg whites nearby. The lesson here is the 2-hour gap formula. Leave at least 2 hours between eggs and medications, and up to 4 for sensitive drugs like thyroid meds. Consistency is your ally. Keep egg intake steady if on blood thinners, and check with your doctor about your weekly count, especially if you're on statins or have heart disease, where cholesterol monitoring is key. For antibiotics, follow label instructions. Some need an empty stomach, far from eggs or dairy. And never hesitate to ask your pharmacist about food-drug interactions. It's a quick chat that can save you a hospital visit. For seniors with conditions like diabetes or hypertension, this is doubly critical. Eggs can spike blood sugar if not paired right, so if you're diabetic, add fiber-rich sides like avocado or oatmeal to blunt the effect. If you're on heart meds, regular blood tests can catch issues early. This isn't about ditching eggs. It's about timing them wisely to let both your food and meds shine. Dorothy, James, and Lila are thriving now, proof that small tweaks like eating eggs at lunch instead of with your morning pills can restore balance. So I'm curious, do you take meds with your eggs? Drop a comment below and share your routine. It might spark a life-changing tip for someone else. But even if you've nailed the timing of your meds, there's another clock to watch. When you eat your eggs during the day can make or break their benefits. Let's explore that next. Number 4. Eating eggs too early in the morning. What if the wholesome ritual of cracking eggs into a skillet at dawn, as the first light filters through your kitchen window, is quietly setting your heart up for a struggle you never saw coming? For so many seniors across America, from the misty mornings of Maine to the golden sunrises of Arizona, starting the day with eggs feels like a touchstone of health, a protein-packed kickstart to keep muscles strong and energy high. But after 30 years of guiding folks through the nuances of aging well, I've seen how this cherished habit can backfire when timed poorly, especially for those of us whose bodies don't process things like they did in our 40s. The surprising truth is that eating eggs too early in the morning when your body's internal clock is ticking in a very specific way can amplify risks to your heart and digestion, turning a superfood into a silent saboteur. Let's dive into why this happens, with the kind of clarity that comes from decades of watching seniors navigate these hidden hurdles. Between 6 and 8 a.m., your body is in high gear, pumping out cortisol, the so-called stress hormone that's actually a natural part of waking up. Cortisol does a lot of good. It revs your metabolism, regulates blood sugar, and gets you ready to tackle the day. But it also signals your liver to churn out more cholesterol, a process that peaks in these early hours. Now picture adding a plate of eggs to that mix rich in dietary cholesterol and fats. It's like pouring extra fuel into an already roaring engine. For seniors, whose livers often work less efficiently with age, metabolizing fats at a slower clip, this combo can push LDL cholesterol, the bad kind, higher than it needs to be, clogging arteries and raising the risk of heart attack or stroke. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death for Americans over 65. And I've seen too many patients unknowingly nudge themselves closer to that edge with this morning misstep. But it's not just about cholesterol. Your digestive system is still rubbing the sleep from its eyes in those early hours. After a night of rest, stomach acid and digestive enzymes are at their lowest, making it harder to break down heavy proteins like those in eggs. Instead of fueling you, that early egg breakfast can leave you bloated, sluggish, or battling acid reflux, a complaint I hear often from seniors in places like Florida's retirement communities, where morning routines are sacred but not always kind to aging bodies. For those with conditions like hypertension or diabetes, common in over 60% of seniors, this early timing can also spike blood pressure or blood sugar unevenly, especially if eggs are paired with high-carb sides like white toast or sugary juice, a classic American breakfast combo. This hit home hard for Mr. Ronald, a 78-year-old from Colorado who'd start every day at 6 a.m. with 2 fried eggs and bacon, a habit he swore kept his heart strong. A retired firefighter, he prided himself on staying active, hiking the Rockies with his dog. But one crisp morning, chest pain struck like lightning, and he collapsed. At the hospital, doctors diagnosed a heart attack, with blood tests revealing cholesterol levels nearly double the safe range. Digging into his habits, we found those early eggs, paired with peak cortisol, were overloading his system, silently building plaque in his arteries until disaster hit. Or take Mrs. Patricia from Illinois, a 70-year-old with hypertension, who noticed persistent bloating and fatigue after her dawn omelets. Her doctor was puzzled until we connected the dots to her early eating schedule, which strained her digestion and spiked her morning blood pressure, a risky combo for her already taxed heart. These aren't isolated cases. They reflect a common oversight. Many seniors fall into the trap of sticking to decades-old routines, assuming breakfast is always the healthiest time for eggs. But compare the outcomes. Eating eggs at 7 a.m. during peak cortisol can raise LDL cholesterol by up to 20% more than later in the day, while waiting until 2-4 p.m. when cortisol dips and digestion is in full swing lets your liver process fats more smoothly, cutting that risk significantly. The lesson here is the prime time eating window. Aim to enjoy eggs between 2 and 4 p.m. when your body's better equipped to handle them. Pair them with fiber-rich veggies like spinach or broccoli to blunt cholesterol absorption, especially crucial if you're on statins or have high blood pressure, where regular cholesterol checks are a must. Avoid eggs right before bed, too. Digesting protein at night can disrupt sleep, which 50% of seniors already struggle with. For conditions like diabetes, this timing shift is a game changer. Pairing eggs with low glycemic sides like avocado keeps blood sugar steady, Ronald's now hiking again, eating his eggs mid-afternoon, and Patricia's bloating is gone since switching to a late lunch. It's a small tweak with big rewards, lower cholesterol, better digestion, and a heart that thanks you. I'd love to know, when do you usually eat your eggs? Share in the comments. Your routine might inspire someone else to rethink theirs. Hit that like button if this resonates, and let's keep unraveling these egg mysteries. Even with perfect timing, though, the way you cook those eggs can make or break their magic. Let's explore that next. Number 5. Cooking eggs in high-temperature oil. What if that irresistible sizzle of eggs hitting a hot, oil-slicked skillet, the kind that fills your kitchen with a nostalgic aroma from your childhood in Ohio or summers at a Georgia diner, is secretly turning your breakfast into a silent inflamer of your body? For so many seniors across America, frying eggs in a blazing pan feels like second nature, a ritual that sparks joy and comfort. But in my 30 years of guiding folks through the maze of aging and nutrition, I've seen this beloved habit transform a nutrient-packed gem into a source of hidden harm, stripping away vital benefits and igniting issues that hit harder as we age. The way you cook your eggs, especially in high-temperature oil, can make the difference between a meal that nurtures your brain and heart or one that quietly fuels inflammation and digestive woes. Let's dig into this with the care it deserves, because the science here is as practical as it is eye-opening. Eggs are delicate. Their proteins and nutrients, like a finely tuned orchestra, heat them too aggressively, and the harmony falls apart. When you cook eggs at temperatures above 212 degrees, 100 degrees C, as often happens with a screaming hot pan of oil, those proteins denature and harden, becoming tougher for your body to break down. For seniors whose digestive systems are often less efficient, think slower enzyme production or weaker stomach acid. This can mean bloating, indigestion, or even a loss of appetite, complaints I've heard from patients in bustling senior centers from Seattle to Tampa. But the real trouble brews in the oil itself. When oils like vegetable or canola hit their smoke point, often around 400 degrees for common cooking oils, they break down, releasing toxic compounds like acrolein and aldehydes. These aren't just fancy names. They're irritants that inflame your stomach lining and trigger oxidative stress, a process that accelerates aging, weakens immunity, and raises your risk of heart disease, which already claims 1 in 4 senior lives in the U.S. And there's another loss that hits close to home. High heat destroys choline, a superstar nutrient in egg yolks that's like a personal trainer for your brain. Choline fuels memory, fights cognitive decline, and supports nerve signaling, crucial for seniors, as nearly 20% of those over 65 face some form of memory impairment. Frying away this nutrient is like burning a bridge to mental clarity, leaving you more vulnerable to brain fog or even the creeping shadow of dementia. Compare this to gentler methods. Boiling or steaming preserves up to 90% of choline, while high-heat frying can slash it significantly, robbing you of a key ally in staying sharp for those crossword puzzles or family stories. I've seen the consequences firsthand, and they're as humbling as they are preventable. Take Mrs. Jane from Florida, an 84-year-old who cherished her crispy fried eggs cooked in hot vegetable oil every morning in her sunny St. Petersburg condo. Over time, she started battling severe heartburn and a shrinking appetite, dropping pounds she couldn't afford to lose. Her doctor suspected gastritis, but a closer look at her diet revealed the culprit. Overheated oil was irritating her gut and stripping nutrients, leaving her malnourished and weak. Switching to soft-boiled eggs turned things around. Her digestion eased, and she regained her strength to host her weekly book club. Then there's Mr. Robert from Minnesota, an 82-year-old with arthritis, who suffered relentless acid reflux after his fried egg breakfasts. The inflammation from overheated oil wasn't just upsetting his stomach, it was flaring his joint pain, making his daily walks a struggle. When he shifted to poached eggs with a sprinkle of turmeric and anti-inflammatory spice, his doctor approved, his reflux faded, and he was back to strolling the lakes with his wife. These stories highlight a common trap: the allure of that crispy, golden edge from high-heat frying, often tied to cultural staples like diner-style breakfasts or family recipes. But it's a risky trade-off. Compare oils for clarity. Vegetable oil smokes at around 400 degrees Celsius, releasing toxins, while extra virgin olive oil, with a lower smoke point of 375 degree Kelvin, is safer if kept at low to medium heat. Better yet, skip oil entirely with boiling, 9 to 12 minutes for firm yolks, or steaming, which keeps nutrients intact and digestion friendly. For seniors with arthritis or heart disease, add anti-inflammatory herbs like parsley or black pepper to boost benefits. Studies show these can reduce inflammation markers by up to 20%. The lesson? Embrace the low-heat prep method. Boil, steam, or poach eggs, and if you must fry, use heart-healthy olive oil on low heat, never letting it smoke. If you're on medications like statins or have conditions like GERD, check with your doctor about diet tweaks to ease digestive strain. This shift is simpler than it sounds. Jane and Robert are proof that gentle cooking can restore comfort and energy. But even perfectly cooked eggs can fall short if they're not the right quality. That's our next revelation. Not all eggs are created equal, and choosing the wrong ones could undo all your careful efforts. Number 6. Ignoring egg quality and sourcing. What if the eggs you pick up from your local grocery store, nestled in their familiar carton, are hiding secrets that could either supercharge your health or quietly load your body with unwanted risks? In my 30 years of guiding seniors through the winding paths of nutrition, I've seen too many folks assume all eggs are cut from the same cloth, whether they're from a big box store in Ohio or a roadside stand in North Carolina. But as we age, when every bite counts toward keeping us strong and independent, the quality and source of those eggs can make a world of difference. Choosing the wrong ones might mean you're not only missing out on nutritional gold, but also inviting hidden hazards that hit harder when your body's resilience isn't what it used to be. Let's crack this open with the clarity it deserves, because this is where my heart aches for seniors who don't realize the stakes. Not all eggs are created equal. Think of them like cars in a lot. Some are sleek, efficient models built to last, while others are clunkers that might get you there but at a cost. Factory-farmed eggs, often the cheapest on the shelf, come from hens packed into tight cages, fed diets heavy in corn or soy, and sometimes spiked with antibiotics to prevent disease in cramped conditions. These eggs can carry traces of those antibiotics, which over time mess with your gut microbiome, already a fragile balance for seniors, where 70% of us face some digestive slowdown. Worse, these eggs often lack the nutrient density of their higher quality counterparts, with lower levels of omega-3 fatty acids, which are like a soothing balm for your heart and joints. Compare that to pasture-raised or organic eggs, where hens roam freely, pecking at grass and bugs. These eggs boast up to twice the omega-3s, higher vitamin E for immunity, and more vibrant yolks packed with antioxidants like lutein, crucial for warding off vision loss. A concern for 1 in 4 seniors over 65. But it's not just about nutrients. It's about safety and hidden traps. Factory eggs are more likely to carry salmonella due to crowded conditions. CDC data links large-scale farms to higher contamination rates. For seniors whose immune systems are less robust, this ups the risk of severe infections, especially in places like Florida or Arizona, where warm climates can amplify bacterial growth if eggs aren't stored right. And here's a kicker. Some cheap eggs come from hens fed low-quality feed with pesticide residues, which can build up in your system, fueling inflammation that worsens conditions like arthritis or diabetes, affecting over 30% of American seniors. I've seen this play out in ways that stick with me. Take Mr. Thomas, a 79-year-old from California's Central Valley, who always bought the cheapest eggs at his local supermarket, thinking he was being frugal for his fixed-income life. He'd whip up omelets daily, proud of his healthy habit. But over months, he started feeling sluggish, with joint pain flaring and cholesterol creeping up despite his active lifestyle. When we dug deeper, his store-brand eggs were low in omega-3s and likely laced with antibiotic residues, disrupting his gut and fueling inflammation that his arthritis meds couldn't counter. Switching to pasture-raised eggs from a local farm rich in anti-inflammatory nutrients eased his pain and boosted his energy, letting him get back to his daily bike rides. Then there's Mrs. Rosa from New Jersey, a 73-year-old with a mild egg allergy that worsened with factory eggs, causing stomach cramps she mistook for aging. Organic eggs, often lower in allergens due to cleaner feed, made all the difference. She's now back to hosting her famous Sunday brunches. The trap here is assuming an egg is an egg, a mindset I see often in seniors stretched thin by budgets, or misled by flashy farm-fresh labels that mean little. Compare the benefits. Pasture-raised eggs can have 3 to 5 times the vitamin D of factory eggs, a nutrient half of seniors lack, boosting immunity and bone strength. The lesson is the quality check formula. Always read labels for pasture-raised or USDA organic. Check for local sources at farmers markets, common in places like Colorado or Vermont, and avoid the cheapest cartons, which often signal lower quality. For those with allergies or diabetes, organic eggs may reduce reactions, but consult your doctor if you notice symptoms like bloating or rashes after eating eggs. Store them in the fridge's main compartment, not the door, to keep them fresh and safe. Making this shift isn't about breaking the bank. It's about prioritizing quality over quantity, maybe fewer eggs, but better ones. Thomas and Rosa are thriving now, proof that sourcing matters. I'd love to hear from you. Where do you get your eggs, and have you noticed a difference with higher quality ones? Drop a comment below. Your story could guide someone else, even with the best eggs. Though there's one final mistake that can tip the scales. Let's dive into that next. Number 7. Overeating eggs without balancing your diet. What if your love for eggs, those versatile staples you lean on for quick meals or protein-packed snacks, is quietly tipping the scales against your health? Not because of the eggs themselves, but because you're crowding out the variety your aging body craves. In my 30 years of helping seniors from bustling Chicago high-rises to quiet Oregon towns, I've seen so many folks embrace eggs as a go-to, only to stumble into a trap where too much of a good thing becomes a silent strain on their heart, waistline, or energy. As we age, our bodies demand a delicate balance, and overindulging in eggs without weaving them into a broader, nutrient-rich diet can turn this superfood into a stumbling block, especially for those of us navigating the complexities of conditions like high cholesterol or diabetes. Let's unpack this with the kind of insight that comes from decades of watching seniors thrive or falter. Eggs are nutritional powerhouses: 6 grams of protein, choline for brain health, and antioxidants like lutein for your eyes. But they're also rich in cholesterol, about 186 milligrams per egg, and calories, 75 per egg, which, while not inherently harmful for most, can add up fast if you're eating multiple eggs daily without balancing them with fiber, vitamins, or other nutrients. For seniors whose metabolism's slow and whose livers process fats less efficiently, overeating eggs can nudge LDL cholesterol levels higher, especially if your diet skimps on fruits, vegetables, or whole grains that help regulate cholesterol absorption. About 1 in 3 Americans over 65 have high cholesterol, and I've seen patients tip into risky territory by leaning too heavily on eggs while neglecting variety. Plus, for those with diabetes, affecting over 25% of seniors, eating eggs without low glycemic pairings can spike blood sugar, leading to energy crashes or worse, long-term complications like neuropathy. Then there's the nutrient gap. If eggs dominate your plate, you might miss out on other essentials like vitamin C from citrus for immunity or magnesium from nuts for muscle function, critical for seniors, as deficiencies can worsen fatigue or increase fall risks. Think of your diet like a symphony. Eggs are a stellar violin section, but without the brass, woodwinds, and percussion of other foods, the music falls flat. Over-reliance also risks monotony, which I've seen sap the joy from eating for seniors in places like Texas retirement homes, where repetitive meals lead to undernutrition over time. This hit home with Mr. George, a 76-year-old from Virginia, a former mechanic who ate 3 eggs daily, scrambled, boiled, or fried, thinking they were his ticket to staying strong. But his cholesterol climbed and his energy dipped. He was skipping veggies and grains, assuming eggs covered all bases. Blood tests showed borderline high LDL, and his doctor warned of heart risks. By balancing eggs with oatmeal, berries, and leafy greens, his levels stabilized, and he was back to tinkering in his garage. Or take Mrs. Linda from Nevada, a 71-year-old with type 2 diabetes who relied on eggs for quick meals but noticed dizzy spells. Her egg-heavy diet, low on fiber, was spiking her blood sugar. Adding avocado and whole-grain toast not only steadied her glucose, but also brought back her spark for line dancing. The trap here is common. Eggs are easy, affordable, and doctor-approved, so it's tempting to make them the star of every meal, especially on a fixed income or with limited cooking energy. But compare the outcomes. 2 eggs daily with diverse sides can lower cholesterol absorption by up to 25% thanks to fiber, while 4 eggs alone might push LDL up in sensitive folks. The lesson is the balanced plate formula. Limit eggs to 5 to 7 per week, 1-2 daily max. Pair with fiber-rich foods like spinach, beans, or whole grains, and ensure your diet includes colorful fruits and nuts for micronutrients. For heart health, get your cholesterol checked every 6 months if you eat eggs regularly, crucial if you're on statins or have heart disease. For diabetics, pair eggs with low glycemic foods and monitor blood sugar to catch spikes. If you have gout or kidney issues, where high protein can strain kidneys, consult your doctor to cap egg intake. This isn't about cutting eggs out. It's about making them part of a vibrant, varied diet that fuels your independence. George and Linda are proof balance brought back their vitality. I'm curious, how often do you eat eggs and what do you pair them with? Share in the comments. Your ideas might inspire someone else. Hit that subscribe button for more tips to age strong. And let's wrap this up with a final look at how to make eggs your ally for life. Number 8. Conclusion. As we close this journey through the hidden pitfalls of enjoying eggs, picture Eleanor from Texas once more, that spirited 78-year-old whose mornings once revolved around her trusty plate of eggs, unaware of the silent risks creeping into her health. Like so many seniors across America, from the vibrant retirement communities of Florida to the quiet farmhouses of Iowa, she believed eggs were her steadfast ally, fueling her strength and vitality. But as we've uncovered, small missteps, eating only egg whites on an empty stomach, savoring runny yolks, pairing eggs with morning meds, eating them too early, frying in blazing oil, choosing low-quality eggs, or leaning on them too heavily without dietary balance can turn this nutritional gem into a quiet threat to your heart, nerves, and independence. These aren't just abstract warnings. They're lessons drawn from 30 years of guiding folks like Eleanor, whose simple tweaks transformed her from battling fatigue and fog to thriving with the energy to host her grandkids and the clarity to outsmart her bridge partners. Let's recap the 6 mistakes we've unraveled, each a stepping stone to reclaiming eggs as your ally. First, skipping the yolk on an empty stomach robs you of biotin and nutrients like lecithin, risking nerve damage and memory slips. Eat the whole egg with fiber-rich sides like spinach to keep your system balanced. Second, raw or undercooked eggs invite salmonella and gut imbalances, especially dangerous for seniors' weaker immunity. Cook them to 160 degrees, firm and safe. Third, mixing eggs with medications like warfarin or iron supplements can dull their effects, sometimes dangerously. Space them 2 to 4 hours apart and stay consistent. Fourth, early morning eggs clash with peak cortisol, spiking cholesterol. Shift to a 2 to 4 p.m. window for smoother digestion and heart health. Fifth, high-heat oil frying destroys choline and sparks inflammation. Boil, steam, or use low-heat olive oil with anti-inflammatory herbs. Sixth, low-quality eggs from factory farms lack nutrients and carry risks. Choose pasture-raised or organic for richer omega-3s and safety. And finally, overeating eggs without dietary variety can overload cholesterol and starve you of other nutrients. Balance with fruits, veggies, and grains for a vibrant plate. These aren't just fixes. They're a roadmap to making eggs work for you, not against you. Think of them as tuning that classic American muscle car we talked about. Get it right, and it carries you far, smooth and strong. For seniors, where 1 in 3 battle high cholesterol and half face digestive slowdowns, these adjustments are like armor, protecting your heart, sharpening your mind, and keeping you steady for those daily walks or family dinners. Eleanor's story proves it. By eating whole eggs, cooking them gently, timing them wisely, choosing quality, and balancing her diet, she's not just living, she's thriving, with the vigor to dance at her granddaughter's wedding and the focus to plan her next community event. Now, here's how you can start today. Pick one change. Maybe it's swapping your morning fried eggs for a mid-afternoon boiled pear with a side of broccoli, or checking your egg carton for pasture-raised, at your next grocery run in places like Whole Foods or a local farmer's market. If you're on meds or managing conditions like diabetes or heart disease, jot down your egg habits and share them with your doctor at your next checkup. It's a small step that could catch a big issue. Reflect on your plate. Are eggs crowding out fruits or grains? Try a rainbow rule. Fill half your plate with colorful produce to complement those eggs. These aren't chores. They're gifts to your future self, ensuring you stay independent, alert, and ready for life's joys, whether it's a sunrise hike in Colorado or a quiet evening with a book in New York. I want to hear from you. Which of these mistakes surprised you most? And what's one egg habit you'll tweak tomorrow? Drop it in the comments. Your story might spark a breakthrough for another senior. From California to Maine. If this guide opened your eyes, hit that like button, share this video with a friend or loved one who loves their eggs, and subscribe to Ageless Vitality for weekly tips to keep you strong and sharp. Eggs are more than food, they're a choice. Make them your partner in thriving, not a hidden hurdle. Stay vibrant, stay wise, and I'll see you in the next video with more secrets to age stronger every day.